All right, Shalom. First off, I want to start off by saying all praises, honor, and glory is due to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakanash. As all praises to the world calls God, whose true name in the Hebrew is Yahweh, by Hashem meaning in the name, and Yahushai being the name of the only begotten Son. I also want to say double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and mercy to the hopeful elect preachers, word of truth and sincerity. I'm the brother Tazabah, Lord will, with another week to come out and prophesy on the downfall of Babylon the Great, which is America, and the downfall of the Edomites, which are the so-called white people, right? So-called Caucasian of today, right? And the coming up of the Israelites, right? We're in the time now where prophecy's going forth and more people are taking note that the ones that are dwelling in the land of Israel today can't be the people, and that they're the main problem in the earth. And at the same time of noticing that, there was a video that came out this week where this Palestinian woman is talking about how Jake has this ability, this godlike instinct to label an oppressor in his oppressive ways as the drop of a dime, something that these other nations have not been able to do, because what they've taken part of this world, what they promoted, right? So the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans have the ability to label oppression, man, because we've been oppressed. We're the people of the Lord. You go into the prophecies and in the scriptures and the history, you come to the conclusion that these are the people of the Lord, right? The so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You talk about the Mexicans, which are Issachar, Asher, which are the Colombians, and those that dwell in Uruguay, right? Naphtali, which is talking about the Argentinians and Chileans. Gad talking about the Native Americans, the Seminole Indians, right? You got the Cubans, which are the tribe of Manasseh. Zebulon, which is Guatemalans and Panamanians, right? Then you got the Dominicans, which are the tribe of Simeon. Levi, which is Haiti. You got the West Indians, the so-called Jamaicans, right? That are the tribe of Benjamin. And you got the Judites, the head tribe, which are the so-called Negroes. All these consist of the 12 tribes of Israel, and these are who the true people of the Lord are today, right? And there's going to be those that look like the other nations, because we've been scattered in all these lands, but we're at the end of the days now where the truth is being declared, right? Let me get this, man. It's in the book of 2nd Ezra. Second Ezra is 6 and 28. I'll start at 26. It says, "And the men that are received shall see it, who have not tasted of death, who've not tasted death from their birth, and the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning." Talking about when we get the kingdom, when the Lord gives us the new covenant, which is the law, statutes, and commandments written in your inward parts, right? "For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. And as for faith, it shall flourish." And right now we're in a time where faith is flourishing, right? The true understanding of the Bible is here today, because the Lord said at the end of days, in the book of Revelation, right, he said the book shall be open before the firmament, meaning the understanding of the scriptures in their entirety, in the true interpretation, right, was going to be opened up at the last days, and we're seeing that now, right? It says, "It shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth," right, "which has been so long without fruit shall be declared." And many people are coming to the realization of who the real Israelites are. The truth is being declared. Many people are coming to the realization that the so-called white man is the demon in the earth, right? Those that prop themselves up as being the righteous in the earth, which Esau, Edom, is that man, right? "Marvel not if Satan be turned into an angel of light," like the scriptures say. We're seeing now in these last days that the truth is being declared, and these people are being put on Front Street, right? These people are being labeled to be the problem. We're in a time now where hey, you can't deny nor refute the things that are happening, because we're in a time where the truth is going to be declared. right? All these things that are revelations to us when we first woke up are becoming a norm to these people in the world. And the biggest thing that's going to become the norm is that what? We are the children of Israel, man. The so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we are the children of Israel. You can't refute this, right? The prophecies speak towards us. So let's get into some precepts, man. This is, second, man. This is Romans 8. 16, it says, it is the spirit. You know, I'll start up. It says, verse 13, for if ye live after the flesh, ye shall die. But if you through the spirit do mortify the deeds of the body, ye shall live. And to mortify the deeds of the body means what? To put away the shit that actually goes against what the Lord said is acceptable, right? So if you want to live by the flesh and just do all your carnal desires, hey, you're gonna die. That leads to death. This is why you have sexual transmitted diseases at an all-time high, right? This is why you got a bunch of stories on the news. Shalom. You got a bunch of stories on the news of women just, women doing all this type of wickedness, and a dude coming back and airing out the entire house, right? Because these people want to live to the flesh, but if you do mortify the deeds of the flesh, you dead those things that aren't right, right? You're gonna live. It says, verse 14, for as many as are led of the Spirit, for as many as are led by the Spirit of the Most High, they are the sons of the Most High. Right? So if you get this word, if you can understand this truth, right? The Lord's with you, man. You're an Israelite. For as many as are led by the Spirit. And we're gonna get into what the Spirit is. They are the sons of the Most High. Right? You're gonna know exactly who you are based on whether or not you graft onto the word of God or not. Because when you go into the book of Ezra, it tells you that none of the heathen actually did what the Lord commanded. They never kept the precepts of the Lord. Only the Israelites did. Right? So for you to get the understanding of the scriptures, for you to understand these things, you got to be an Israelite. Since verse 15, it says, for ye have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but ye have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. It is the Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit, right? And the Spirit is what? You got to go to John. Let's get that. This is John chapter 6. In verse 63, it says, it is the Spirit that quickeneth, right? It is the Spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profited nothing, right? The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. So it's the word of the Lord, right? That is the Spirit, and that's what quickens you, right? When you understand the words of the Lord, that's what causes that type of change. When the word of the Lord has a place in you, it causes change. It causes you to shape up, right? It is the Spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profited nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life, right? So that's what it is, man. These words of the Lord, that's the Spirit. So when you go back into Romans 8 and 16, it says it is the Spirit itself bear witness. So the words of the Lord bear witness, right, with our spirit, right? With our character, what we do, how we move. It says it is the Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High, right? That we're the children of the Lord, man. So this is how you know that we are the Israelites. Because what? When you go into the scriptures, you go into the prophecies, right? And people have heard this. Some Jake have heard this and they changed their life. It's turned their life around, right? Some Jake haven't heard it, right? And they're waiting to hear it because we're coming down to the time where we're coming down to those last seconds on a shot clock where you got just a little bit of time to get right and to change how you operate before the Lord comes. And after that, it's over, right? This system is getting ready to crash. America's about to go down, right? The dollar's collapsing. Interest rates are going crazy. You're getting ready for a debt bubble to pop. This shit's about to be real. Right? But we are the children of the Lord. The so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the children of the Heavenly Father, man. Right? The ones that they gave you bywords, called you niggas, spicks, whatever the fuck they called you, man. You're the children of the Lord. And it's going to be said in a day soon, right? Let me get this. It says, Shalom, brother. Hey, y'all watch me. Shabbat Katah.
Y'all watch me. Shabbat Katah.
Shalom, brother.
Shalom, brother.
Be good, bro.
Yes, sir.
This is Wisdom of Solomon 5, chapter 3. It says, "And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometime in derision in proverb of reproach." Right? They're gonna look at us and be like, "Hey, man, this is who we was talking shit about this dude." Right? We called them bums. Right? Niggas really come out here and tell us to get a job like there ain't a camera here, a tripod, car keys in a pocket, right? Brothers got smell goods on and shit, and they'll really sit here and fix their mouths and say, get a job, like we ain't got a job, and call us bums, right? But they're gonna say what? Whom we had sometime in derision and proverb of reproach, we fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor. They thought we wasn't gonna be shit. Well, surprise, surprise, man. The Lord set us up in the last days and put us on our feet to condemn this world. This is where we at, right? In the message of the prophets, right? The Israelites, the elect of them, right? Because this is an elect man's job, man. And for you to, and we're of the hopeful elect. So we press forward in this thing of the mindset of being part of the hopeful elect, in hopes that the Lord have mercy on us, in hopes that we keep pushing his word. This is a powerful act. This ain't nothing, man. Shit. Brothers come out here, you go through your whole week, you study, right? You pray, you fast. This is the power of the Lord, man, because in this world we were taught to what? YOLO, you only live once, right? Living your best life, right? Like they got that song. This is what we're taught in this world. So it's for us to disconnect from this bullshit, for us to pull away from this shit. Hey, that's the power of the Lord, man. It says, we fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of the Most High and his lot among the saints? And that's what they're going to see. They're going to see that we're numbered among the children of the Lord, right? And our lot is among the saints, meaning what? Where are those chosen people? Right? Nobody was looking and peeping for us to be able to sit here and come to this estate, to be able to know that we're Israelites, man. People are surprised by how we brothers act. When you get this truth, man, when you really start living this thing, people take note of you. They see something different in you. They see the Spirit of the Lord in you. It said, let your light so shine before men that they can see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven, right? So we walk in our daily lives in a way that the Lord will feel honored by us, man. Will feel proud towards us, and people notice it, right? Even so now that you got, like I was talking about that Palestinian woman that made that video, right? She's in awe that Jake has this innate ability to sit here and point this shit out, but at the same time, they don't understand. For a long time, their own people, because they had a piece of the pie, right? And Palestinians, right? Some of them are Jake, so, probably a large amount of them are Jake, actually, right? But at the same time, they people fucking sat there at a piece of the pie, right? The ones that are actually heathen had a piece of the pie, so they didn't give a fuck about talking about us. They ain't give a fuck about what was happening when niggas is getting choked out by the police, right? But now that they're seeing and they're being oppressed by the same people that oppressed us, now they're sitting there taking note. Hey, these got to be the people of the Lord. They're far more superior and are able to deal with these things. Look at what they've done. Even in all the oppression that they went through, they were able to sit here and rise to some type of status. Why? Because we're Israel, man. Hey, shalom, brother. You good, bro?
No, no, you good.
But that's where we at, man. Now the world's starting to see who we really are, man. Right? We being honored by the Heavenly Father by having this word, bro. Shalom, brother. Hey, y'all, what's your man? Shabbat
Shalom, shalom.
So going back into it, because when you go into the scriptures, you see that we are those people, bro. Let me see if there's a little more on this, actually. It says, no, I'll end it on that. So let's go into this, man, because I wanted to go into how Jake, right, who the true people of the Lord are, by prophecy, right, by the curses, because these things were written for us to know exactly who the Israelites are, man. So this is Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28 and 15 says, but it shall come to pass, right, if thou would not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee, right? So the Lord said, if we didn't do what the Lord said, that all these curses were going to come upon us and overtake us. Now, when you jump down to verse 46, we're going to jump around in this. It says, and they shall be, I'll start at 45. It says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, it shall persecute thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power. Right? So the Lord put these curses upon a certain people on the earth, that they would be upon them because what? They didn't hearken to the words of the Lord. Now when you look through the curses, we're going to go through them, do the people in the land of Israel fit the curses of the Bible? No, they don't. They fit an entirely different lot. Right? It says, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and a wonder, for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Right? These curses are going to be attached to you. Right? The Lord said these curses are going to be attached to you. So when you look at these curses, and we're going to go through some of them, and you taking a note that the Diamond District is owned by the JOOs, right? The JUs. Right? JUU, right? The Diamond District is owned by them. Most of the television stations are owned by them. Banks are owned by them. When you go through the prophecies, these people can't fit the prophecies. Only a certain people are the Israelites, man. Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, man. Those are the true Israelites. Those are the true people of the Lord, right? Not the so-called white man, none of that. The true people of the Lord are the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and they're the ones that the Lord's going to prop up in these last days to rule this world in righteousness. Because every other nation, every other people in this world have had a chance to rule the world, and it hasn't gone well. Look at it. You can't even fucking live. It's too expensive to live. Food's too expensive. Cars too expensive. House too expensive. You have a kid in this world, it's damn near viewed as a curse. Because that kid comes with the child comes a whole nother burden that you can't fucking afford. The scriptures tell you that, hey, it was a blessing to have a child. In the old world, for a woman not to have a kid, it was a curse, right? But the Israelites are coming back in these last days to set up the righteousness on the earth so that things prosper in the right way. And that's going to come through what? all type of hell breaking loose in America, right? Because America is that hub that pushed forth all this wickedness throughout the earth, right? This is where you have homosexuality just out of all-time high. That's against the Lord's commandments. This is where you have murder happening all the time. They sit here and damn near decriminalize robbery. If somebody goes to the store and robs the store, the police ain't even coming out. Well, the scriptures tell you, thou shalt not steal, right? You got rappers sitting there talking about murder, 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 and the scriptures tell you, thou shalt not kill, right? There's a proper way to do with these things, but the Lord is about to start giving out his judgment against this earth. What's going on, man? Y'all got a question? So this is Deuteronomy. Huh? Oh, cool.
What do you do?
Preaching. So the scriptures tell you that in the last days, the Lord will send his prophets back on the earth again, right?
It says the last days.
Exactly. So that's why the Lord has prophets back here teaching all over again. And the prophets were set up to what? Prophesy the downfall. Let me get the scripture, man. This is Jeremiah.
But I'm white.
Hey, I don't know who you are. It's not based on color. It's based on nationality. You go into the scriptures.
Oh,
You go into the scriptures.
I don't know.
Your bloodline is based on your father. And at the end of the day, when you go back in the book of Judges, or is it Judges? You go back into the scriptures, it tells you that your bloodline is determined by your fathers. Even if you don't know your fathers, your color could be something else. But what? Israel was spread through every nation. So you get a man into a different nation. Like if I went into China right now, I have a kid over there. Obviously, they ain't black folks over there, right? I have a kid over there, that kid's gonna come out lighter, right? But that kid is still of my bloodline because I'm the father, right? If my son that is born in China has another child in that land, it's gonna come out lighter. It won't even look like he's a brother no more, right? He's gonna look like one of those people that land. But that child is still of my bloodline and not of the bloodline of the people of that land. So it doesn't really matter what you look like. It matters about the spirit. But this is Jeremiah 28. It says, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old, prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Are you Mormon?
No, I'm not. I'm an Israelite. Yep. That's the people of the Bible. The Israelites are the people of the Bible. That's who they are. You ain't gotta be scared to speak, brother. I ain't gonna attack you or nothing. Shit. That's the people of the Bible. All the people in the Bible, right? Who they call Jesus, he was an Israelite.
Wait, you don't have a denomination?
No. Nope. This is a bloodline thing. It's not based on religion. Bloodline. I'm an Israelite by blood. But the Lord said, the prophets before time, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old, prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and evil and of pestilence. So that's what the true prophets of the Lord will be telling you. That war, evil, and pestilence are going to be coming because the Lord said that's what the prophets did before. And all things are going to circulate. That's why you got World War III being spewed up right now. Don't you know World War III is in the scriptures? In the book of Revelation, it tells you 2 woes are past and the 3rd woe coming quickly.
So they are the people that know things.
Yeah, the prophets understand the scriptures because they're the ones that wrote them, right? The prophets prophesied things in the old time that were written down, and the Lord brought them back in the reincarnation. Because when you go into the New Testament, right?
Are you a prophet?
A prophet,
Are you?
yeah, I'm prophesying. I'm going through the scriptures. That's what a prophet is. It says a prophet is somebody that says something before it comes to pass. That's what it means to prophesy. Pro means before, facade meaning to say. So say before. So we're talking about the things that are going to come before they come. That's a prophet.
What religion are you
I'm an Israelite.
from? So non-Jewish, right?
The real Jews. So they call Jewish, right? Jewish. That's only a term that goes into the 3 tribes of the southern kingdom. So they just combine them all. So the people in the land of Israel today, they can't fit the prophecies of being a true people because the Lord said when we got back into the land of Israel that all the tribes would be there, and they only say they're Jews. So where's Benjamin? Where's Issachar? Where's the other 12? Where's the other 10 tribes? So, yeah.
Excuse
Mm-hmm.
me.
Yeah.
We're not from this land.
Yeah.
So my friend, she's American, and she was telling us that the Bible is fake, that it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
We want to know why God allows all this bad stuff to happen.
Oh, I get it for you. Let me get this, man.
Is it us that has to make the change, or God?
It's us. The Lord don't have to change. He made everything. Like if you wrote a movie right now, right? You wrote a movie. You wrote somebody's got to be the evil character, right? And somebody's got to be the good character.
Once that movie goes on, I have no control over it.
Yes, you do, because you wrote it. You wrote it in the beginning. You knew all the roles, right?
What about the Book of Judah saying about the
Book of what?
Book of Judah?
Judo?
Book of Judah.
There's no Book of Judah in the Bible. But this is Isaiah
There's
45.
an old Bible, the first Bible overwrote.
Listen to him.
There's no book of Judah though. There's none of that. But this is Isaiah 45 and 7, right? This is the Lord speaking. It says, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. So the Lord has the power to make all that. So the bad stuff that happens, the Lord set that up for judgment, right? There's certain souls, like the scriptures tell you, there's souls created for vengeance. So people do things like adultery. You know what adultery is? So when a woman steps out on her husband, right?
When a man cheats on the wife.
Well, a man can have more than one wife in the Bible. Yep, in the Bible. All the men in the scriptures had more than one wife.
I can't cross cut music, but
Right? So adultery, because what you have to understand is when the Lord put a man and a woman together, right? They became one flesh. Basically, they were a family. So if somebody else comes in, they're breaking apart that union that the Lord made. So if somebody commits adultery, right, they can go their whole life never paying for that, right? But the Lord said he created spirits for vengeance. So there could be, that person could commit adultery 100 times. The Lord has a set amount of mercy for that person, and then what? He pushes out that soul out there in the form of somebody else to put that person to death. All things are in balance. The Lord does good and he does evil. That's in the scriptures, right?
I believe it's
So there's another one, right? And if you go into the Job, the first chapter,
Wait a second. It's like when you get something.
this is Job.
So once I make a movie and put that movie out there, it's out there.
It's out there.
I have no,
You got no control because you already wrote the script.
I already wrote the script.
So the Lord already wrote the script. So this stuff is gonna play out.
So
right.
he has no control over it.
No, he has control because he made the script. He has the control in the beginning. Like if you wrote a movie, you said, I want this part to be like this. I want this part to be like this. I want this part to be like this, right? You had the control in the beginning. So nothing's going to divert from your own plan.
I have it right here.
Yeah.
I'm just using this for example.
Okay, so,
I'll use that
yeah,
guy.
that's-
I'm not gonna use some stranger. I'll use that guy right there.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Say he comes over here and jumps on me and rapes me.
Mhm.
Would God stop that? And say,
He could if he wrote it in the plan already. So you gotta understand, like if you wrote a movie and that was the scenario, right?
Yeah.
If you wrote it for somebody to come help that person, it's gonna happen.
So
But if
we're
you
all-
didn't write it for them to help that person, then you wanted that person to go out like that, right?
So we're all just part of some big story?
Yep, that's right. We're part of the Lord's story, right? What does the Lord's prayer say?
Messed up story.
Some of it, it's got to happen. You got to go through the ugly to get the beautiful, right? You got to go through the hard to get the nice times, right? That's part of the scripture.
The Lord's Prayer was.
So you know the Lord's prayer says, "As on earth, so as in heaven, so on earth."
Yeah.
Right? So everything in the heaven obeys the Lord. So everything on earth is going to obey the Lord. And everything. So that's what it is.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Be good.
Thanks.
So this is go back into it, man. Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28, and I think we were at 45. Yeah, 45. It says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, right? And she was asking about the story. So the Lord wrote this story, right? The Lord said, what? I do good and I create evil, right? I created light and I created dark. I, the Lord, do all these things. So the Lord created the story. So all the ugliness that we go through as a people, the Lord wrote that story. But you're really getting it because what? Jake went off. It was the Lord's will for this to be how the story went. But Jake went off. But the Lord also wrote in the story that what? We was going to come back to the understanding that we are his people, that we were going to repent, that there was going to be an elect number that came back to the Lord in righteousness. Right? So Deuteronomy 28:45, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee. What's going on?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I gotta interrupt you.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you talk to the Lord?
Huh?
Can you talk to the Lord? The Holy Spirit, does he talk to you?
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay, well, I was with a Wiccan for a long time.
Uh-huh.
And she taught me the Wiccan ways.
Mhm.
She said, do you see anything on me? Like any curses or whatever? Do you see anything?
I want to be able to see that. That's in the spiritual world. I can only judge how you are. That's it.
Can you see in the spiritual realm?
No, I can't. The Lord didn't open my eyes to see that.
I know it's a
Nah,
stupid
he
question.
did. Nah, I don't know. I don't know anybody whose eyes he
Can you
opened
talk
to
to
see
him
that.
and ask him that?
That's something y'all gonna have to do for yourself. All right.
Now,
See that? Jake. Hey, they want to get around. They want to get around wickedness, man. They're surprised that they fucking all sketch, bro. Ultimately, they both had demons on them, man. They was bugged. But back in Deuteronomy 28:45, it says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, and to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon all thy seed forever. Right? So when you go into the small hatters, the people in the land of Israel right now, does it look like they're under the curses? When they own the diamond districts, they own all the major media stations, they own all the newspapers, right? The vast majority of them own all the banks. Does that say they're under the curses when the scriptures tell you that the heathen would lend unto us, but we would not lend unto them? That we would be the head, we would be the tail, and they would be the head? Nah, they don't fit the curses, but I tell you who does, right? Even though we're slowly coming out of the curses, right? It's you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans that are under those curses, man. You're the ones that can't remove your neck from that burden, man. Because these things are on you for a sign and wonder. There's a reason why you went to slavery, right? Deuteronomy 28:68. It says, and Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt, right? When you go into that Egypt, you got to go into the book of Revelation. There's a place. Revelation 11:8, it says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street at a great city, which spiritually is called Sodom in Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified, right? So there's a place that spiritually comes in the same energy, in the same way, in the same fashion as Sodom, what? Which was known for what? Homosexuality, in Egypt, which was known for what? The bondage and the captivity, the brutal slavery of the Israelites. Remember, Pharaoh made us serve with rigor. Well, what did we do here? We serve with rigor, right? So back in Deuteronomy 28:68, it says, and Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, right? So the Lord said he was going to bring us into bondage, right? Because that word Egypt, look at this. This is Exodus 13:3. It says, and Moses said unto the people, remember this day in which he came out from Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So Egypt is synonymous with the house of bondage, with a slavery, So when you go back into Deuteronomy 28 and 68, it says, and Yahweh shall bring thee into bondage, right? Egypt, right? Again with ships. So you're going to go into slavery by the way of ships. The so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we went through slavery in ships. And actually the fucking, the Northern Kingdom went into slavery in ships first, because you had the Spanish conquest, right? Coming over to the Americas and taking those so-called Latinos and Native Americans from the Americas into Europe. And then there came a time where Judah was going to get his too. And what? We went into slavery by ships by way of the triangle slave trade, right? It says, by the way whereof I spake unto you, thou shalt see it no more again, and ye shall be sold unto your enemies from bondmen and bondwomen. So who was sold to their enemies as bondmen and bondwomen? The so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. We were sold to these devils, right? They sold nigga babies like they sold fruit. And they walk by, they scoff, they laugh at these things, but hey, like one of your presidents has said in the past, he said, I fear that the Lord is just, because there's going to be a just recompense for the things that happened unto the Israelites. Right? The slavery, the captivity, the brutality that was served to the Negroes in America, that shit's going to be paid back by the Lord. Right? You'll sit here and say, remember the Holocaust, but nobody wants to remember the shit that happened to the Negroes, right? Smile and shit, act like it's all a game, but hey, we know that the Lord said what? In the book of Revelation, is do unto her double. But all that she had rewarded thee, reward her. The Lord also said in another scripture that all that devour us shall the Lord devour. Said all our adversaries shall go into captivity. Right? So this is what we're waiting for. But we're seeing that what? The scriptures agree that we are the children of Israel, man. There's no going against that. You can't. It's unrefutable. Deuteronomy 28 and 29, we'll jump up some. It says, and thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled forever, evermore, and no man shall save thee. Right? And that's what we go through. We're consistently oppressed. Right? You went from slavery to Jim Crow, chain gangs, right? They made it illegal for you. Mind you, they just kicked you off the plantation. Then they made it illegal for you to sleep in the woods. So then they put you in slave houses or put you back into slavery, right? Then they gave you sharecropping. They basically charge you for everything you use while you worked on that farm. These devils had many devices, right? These devils had many devices, so they were constantly destroying Jake. Over there in South America, hey, people don't even know where you get the Dole Fruit Company from. It's because America made an entire agenda, right? In South America to sit here and take the fruits. That's why they said, hey, South America is America's backyard. So verse Deuteronomy verse 29 again, it says, verse 30, it says, thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. And who does this the most? The so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You got Issachar, the so-called Mexican, over here in Arizona. They build up everything here. They can't even afford, a vast majority of them cannot afford the houses that they build. I'm talking about, you got $1 million houses that they say and build up, and they don't get a part of it. Right? In slavery, you got a wife, and what did they do? The master came in and knocked boots with her. And you had to take her back. Fucking comfort her while she was crying until a point where she got used to it. It says, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. That was slavery. All out, man. Over here in America, right, in Arizona particularly, right, you have something called Indian School Road. right? And what they used to do was take Gadites, put them in a boarding school there, and in the summers, they would force them to work as free labor on these devil's farms, right? It's bullshit, man. First of all, you ripped them from their homes. You beat their language out of them, right? You made it so they wouldn't be able to return. A lot of them you killed, right? Sexually assaulted and abused. This is the effects of Esau on the earth. And the Lord is going to sit here and bring out his judgment against this fucking place. Right? It says, verse, let's see what else I want. We'll close it out on Deuteronomy. This is Psalms 44 and 11. My spirit's out, man. Psalms chapter 44, verse 11. It says, thou shalt give us like sheep appointed for meat. So the Lord said he's going to give us like sheep appointed for meat, right? And has scattered us among the heathen. And that's what happened. So in process of time, over many captivities, you can read the book of Judges. All right, I believe it's like Judges, like the 5th or 7th chapter, the first book of Judges, right? It tells you that Judges, the 5th chapter, I believe. It tells you how Jake went from one captivity to another captivity, and captivities just started getting longer and longer, right? So the Lord scattered us among the heathen, right? And this is why you're going to have Jake looking like everybody under the sun. The Lord said, my people as unto me as a cake unturned, as a speckled bird, I mean. So Jake, the Israelites are going to come looking like everything, man, because you've been spread through all the nations. A man gets with a woman in another nation, they're going to look a little lighter. And that man has a son. His son looks like the other nations a little bit, and he has another son with the other nation, and he's going to look even more like him. So the Lord's heritage is unto him as a speckled bird, right? It says, thou sellest thy people for naught, and does not increase thy wealth by price, right? Because we got sold to the nations for our disobedience, man, put into captivity. Thou makest us a reproach to our neighbors, a scorn and a derision to them that are round about us. And that's where we at, man. How many times everywhere you go, every country you go to, they got a word for a nigga, man. They got a reproach for a nigga because what? That's the curses, right? The Lord said he was going to make us a byword and a proverb among the heathen, right? So everywhere you go, Samoa, they call you Meuli, right? They got a term in every fucking race about so-called Negro, man. Even them Africans, dusty ass Africans, or some call you a kata, mean cotton, because that's what you put in slavery. Well, that's the prophecy. That's his curses, right? It says, thou makest us a byword among the heathen, a shaking of the head among the people. My confusion is continually before me, and the shame of my face had covered me. For the voice of him that reproacheth and blasphemeth by reason of the enemy and avenger, right? We've been put into this low predicament, and it's by the hand of the Lord. And we're coming down to the time where the Lord is going to raise us out of it, man. But I'm going to keep going. This is James 1:1. James chapter 1:1, it says, James, a servant of the Most High, and of the Lord Yahushua Mashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting, right? So that's letting you know the 12 tribes were scattered abroad, put in every land, right? This is why when you go among the heathen, and you know the heathen to be this unsalted fucking nation, boiled chicken, no flavorings, right? You gotta have a Moabite, a so-called Asian. You know how they usually walk the little waddle, feet turned out to the side, no flavor, and then somehow you get one with the juice. He dancing, he pop locking. He got a talent to sing, a talent to ball, right? He got flavor on his speech. Game when he talking to women and shit. You know damn well, hey, that ain't no fucking Moabite. That's a nigga right there, man. That's Jake. Too much flavor on him. Dude got too much sasson, right? A little too much laurels on them, man, to be a heathen. Because no matter where we are, man, that spirit is on us. That spirit is in us, man. The Lord said what? He made us above all the nations that are upon the face of the earth. He chose us above all the nations. So he gave us a special spirit. But we were scattered abroad everywhere, man. That's why when you go to the book of Acts, the 2nd chapter, and this is where you get the breakdown of the neither Jew nor Greek, neither Jew nor Greek, because both are the Israelites, man. There's no difference from those that grew up in the understanding that they were Israelites and those that grew up under the heathen rule thinking that they were living like the heathen. You had Jake that were actually Israelites living in Rome thinking that they were Romans, right? But their true lineage went back to Israel. That's the difference. That's what it means by there is neither Jew nor Greek. This is Acts chapter 2, verse 4. It says, and they were all filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak with other tongues as the Spirit gave them utterance. Verse 5, it says, and there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. Why was it Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven? Because what? What's going on? Yep. It says, yep, hey, that's what's up, bro. It says, and there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven, right? So Israel was out of every nation under heaven. So that's the scattering abroad. This is why the scriptures tell you wherever they were scattered, what? The Lord would still bring them back. No matter where you are, you're still an Israelite, right? If you're an Israelite, if your forefathers go back to a man of Israel, you're an Israelite. And even if you don't know who your forefathers go back to, if you understand his word, right? The Lord said what? He said he showed his laws unto Jacob, right? His statutes unto Israel. He had not dealt so with any other nation. For you to understand this thing, you got to be an Israelite, right? So it don't really matter what you look like, because the scriptures say the Lord judgeth not as man judge, but the Lord judgeth after the Spirit, right? It says, now when this was noised abroad, right, the multitude came together and were confounded because that every man heard them speak in his own language. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? It says, and how hear we every man in our own tongue wherein we were born, wherein we were born, Parthians and Medes. These are all the nations that Jake was. They were basically everywhere in the known world at the time, right? Parthians and Medes, and Elamites, and dwellers of Mesopotamia, and Judea, and Cappadocia, and Pontus, and Asia, Phrygia, and Pamphylia, and Egypt, and in the parts of Libya about Cyrene, strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes. So Jake was everywhere. The Israelites were everywhere. So for them to sit here and act like, oh, the promise is open to everybody, because Paul went to all the earth preaching. Well, Paul went to what? The Jews that were in all these lands. The salvation is open to you Israelites, man. Not everybody else. Fuck worrying about the fucking heathen. Worry about your damn self. Worry about the nation of Israel. Worry about the elect. Paul said it what? I endure all things for the elect's sake. That's who you should be worried about. Not about everybody. Right? This is Cretes and Arabians, we do hear them speak in our tongues the wonderful works of the Most High. Right? So this is keep going, man. This is Ezekiel 37. And I'll get into some articles after this. Ezekiel 37. And 4. And it says, I'll start at 3. It says, and he said unto me, son of man, can these bones live? Going into the dry bones. Because the scriptures tell you, he that runneth out of the way of the understanding shall abide in the congregation of the dead, shall dwell in the congregation of the dead. So when we left, we stopped following the Lord, The Lord put us in the congregation of the dead. So we're those dry bones, right? We were those cisterns that can hold no water, right? It says, and I answered, O Yahweh power, thou knowest. It says, he said unto me, prophesy unto these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of Yahweh. And that's what's happening in these last days. The Lord's put up men in these last days to preach the word. Right? Like the Lord said what? Prophesy to the wind. The Lord set up men in these last days to preach the word. And we said what? Oh, you dry bones. Hey, Jake, hear this word. Correct your ways. Fix what you're doing. Repent. It says, prophesy unto these dry bones and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of Yahweh. Thus say Yahweh power unto these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. And the breath is what? The understanding, man. Let's get that. Let me get a precept for that. This is
How's it going?
all right. This is 2nd Ezra 16 and 61. It says, and he made man and put his heart in the midst of the body and gave him breath, life, and understanding. Now there's another one. Yeah, Wisdom of Solomon 7 and Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 24 says, for wisdom is more moving than any motion. She passeth and goeth throughout all things by reason of her pureness, for she is the breath of the power of God. So wisdom is the breath and the power of the Lord. It says, and a pure influence flowing from the glory of the Almighty, therefore can no defiled thing fall into her. Right? So the breath, the wisdom and understanding, that is the breath of the Lord. So when you go back into where we at in Ezekiel 37, when it goes into the breath, it says, verse 5, it says, and saith Yahweh unto these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter into you. He's going to cause the wisdom, the understanding to get into them. And ye shall live, and I will lay sinews upon you, and I will bring flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh. Right? And that's what's happened, man. Brothers got to understand. Brothers understood, hey, that this is the Lord's word. This is true understanding. Right? We're the Israelites. You can't get around this, man. What? And prophecies happening. World War III is getting riled up. They're talking about a whole draft being in America. They're talking about Biden's going to have to sit here and institute a draft. And women are going to go into that draft too. Right? You want equality? Well, guess what? Forced conscript, right, into the military is applicable to women now. That's prophecy. All right? You're going to be over there in war, hoping that your lieutenant will let you, hoping that your lieutenant, if he let you clap his cheek, if you let him clap your cheeks, he'll let you stay on base. Right? This is, keep reading. This is verse 7. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied there was a noise, and behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to his bone. Right? Brothers started to come up because what? The word of the Lord calls you to do an action, man. Calls you to change your life. That's what happens, man. That's the dry bones coming to life. It says, and when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came up upon them, and the skin covered them above, and there was no breath in them. Then said he unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, thus say Yahweh, behold, thus say Yahweh power, come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live. So the Lord called the spirit. Right? Brothers got to understand, oh, I'm an Israelite. That was the first step. Right? I'm an Israelite. The name of the Lord is Yahweh. The name of his son is Yahweh Shai. what the Lord called the Spirit, right? Because he said what? He was going to give you another comforter. Then the Lord called the Spirit. And then you started going deep. Then you started to learn, oh, the Sabbath is dictated by the new moon. Then you started learning, I'm not supposed to eat pork. I'm not supposed to do this. Then you started learning that you're not supposed to shave your beard off according to the Bible. Then you started understanding there's a way in which you're supposed to conduct yourself. That was the breath coming into you, the understanding of the word. It says verse 9, it says, then said he unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, say to the wind, thus say Yahweh power, come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived and stood upon their feet, an exceeding great army, right? An exceeding great spiritual army. That's what's happening. You got brothers popping up everywhere. That's why you had that woman in that Jewish council, right? Sat there and said that the greatest threat to Israel was the Negro man in America. Why? We ain't over there with no bombs. We ain't over there with no Molotov cocktails. Jake over here just sitting there wanting to live his best life, right? That's what Jake is worried about over here in Mass. Only the elect are worried about getting the fuck out this place, man. Because this ain't living. Right? It says, I'm in on that one. This is Judges 5. And we can get into some prophecy. Judges 5 and 11. It says, they that are delivered from the noise of archers, right? In the place of drawing water. And the place of drawing water is a phrase that goes into captivity, right? Because when the children of Israel were coming out of the wilderness, right, you had two heathens, right, feigned themselves. It was a heathen king that feigned himself to be a poor man, to be on a long journey, and he made an oath with him, right? And because they fooled him, because they didn't go to the counsel of the Lord, right? They made a pact with him. They said, okay, well, since she lied, right, and we can't do nothing to him, they said only let them be hewers of wood and jars of water, meaning they're going to be consistently in slavery. They're going to be consistently their servants, right? So it says, in a place of drawing waters, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts, and that's what's happened, right? We've got to understand it. We're the children of Israel, right? The Lord gave us the breath to understand it. We're standing on our feet, a great army, right? In righteousness, right? Humility, that spiritual army built up in the spirit first. And then the Lord will make us physical when he gives us the power in the new bodies. But, right? That we will rehearse the righteous acts in the land of our captivities, right? Even the righteous acts towards the inhabitants of his villages in Israel, then shall the people of Yahweh go down to the gates, right? So that's what's happening. The Lord is bringing us back to real understanding. We're changing our ways, but we're going to change up the topic because got some articles I wanted to go into. Right, these are 3 articles because we're getting ready down to the time where they're going to just crash this American dollar. The dollar system is going to be out the door. They're coming up with an entirely new monetary system, which is going to be digital. This is why there's a thing called CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. That's an entire new currency. It's not going to be no fiat money where you got paper dollars and you're able to sit here and stash shit away, secret, your little secret stash and shit. That's going to be out the door. All it's going to be from then on out, right, is going to be that digital mark. Right? So this is an article from RT. It says U.S. debt to top 50 trillion, Bank of America. This is U.S. national debt could surge to $20 trillion over the next decade. The it says Bank of America said in a note on Tuesday, citing data from the Congressional Budget Office. According to the forecast, the current outstanding public debt accounts to roughly $33.6 trillion. It says, but at the pace it's growing in due to fiscal excess in the 2020s, it is likely to grow by 5.2 billion daily for the next 10 years, right? And what does that go to? It says he that laid himself. Let's get that. It's Habakkuk 2 and 6. It says, I'll start at 5. It says, yeah, verse 5, Habakkuk 2 and 5, it says, yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell and is as death. And who doesn't keep at home? Who enlarges their desire as hell? The so-called white man. He goes throughout every nation, taking whatever the fuck he wants from them. Right? That's who, and then when he leaves the land, it's always messed up. Look at Libya. When Gaddafi was there, they bombed Libya to shit. It was paradise. They were talking about people, everybody had free electricity. They had a right to a decent loan for a home, a way to start a family. And what happened when Esau got in there? The so-called white man, he bombed that shit to hell. Look at Palestine right now. They're sitting there talking about the amount of bombs that have been put on them Palestinians. It's equivalent to the tonnage of the bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima. Right? The so-called white man is death and hell on earth, man. This nigga is killing everybody. It says, yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. But gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe unto him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that laded himself with thick clay. You look at that word thick clay in the Hebrew, it goes back to the word abatya, which means debt. And America's just putting more debt on themselves. You're talking about $5 billion a day? That's madness, bro. Where you sit here and spend enough money for $5 billion a day, fucking madness, bro. But then you got homelessness, a drug issue, right? Cost of living issues. At your own home, you can fix this shit. If you can send fucking $40 billion over to fucking Israel, you can fix this shit at home. You telling me, as many houses as there are and empty apartments as there are, you telling me you can't spend that money on the people here? You take the tax money already, right? Ain't you supposed to spend it on the people? But this devil is unrighteous, right? He's a warmonger. He's as death and hell, man, because with the resources that he has, all he does is promote death. Right? So I'm gonna go back to this article. It says, according to Bank of America, one of the factors leading to the further surge in debt is the sharp increase in federal deficit, which jumped by $320 billion to $1.7 trillion this year, forcing the Treasury Department to sell trillions of dollars worth of fresh bonds. Right? The rise in annual interest payments caused by the soaring bond yields is also waning on the federal budget and widening deficits, the bank noted. Right? So basically people are cashing in on the bonds that they already bought, and they ain't got enough liquidity to cover it. So it's basically it's a debt bubble. This is another article. It says U.S. will run out of paper to print dollars. Right? This is from RT News. It says the U.S. national debt has risen so high that Washington will no longer be able to print any more dollars to service it. It says he was commenting on the statement made by the U.S. counterpart John Kirby on Wednesday that the U.S. has already spent 96% of the funds allocated for Ukraine since early 2020, when its long-running tensions with the neighbor Russia turned to armed conflict. Right? Why are they sitting there telling you that there's a debt bubble, right? There's not going to be enough paper to print money to allocate it? Why are they sitting there telling you this, man? This is another article from RT, and it says U.S. credit rating downgraded to negative. What does that spell for your national debt? What does that spell for your power to buy something? If the national's credit rating drops, what are you supposed to do? It says international credit rating agency Moody's has changed its outlook on the U.S. from stable to negative, citing massive fiscal deficits and a notable decline in debt affordability as major reasons for the move on Friday. The downgrade follows a similar announcement by the fellow credit rating agency Fitch, which raised concerns over the state of the U.S. finances and the national debt burden, which when lowering its rating for the country earlier this year. It says it is the latest outlook. However, Moody's did affirm the long-term issuers and senior unsecured ratings of the U.S. at AAA. So now you got a dropping debt rate for America. It's like a credit score. If your credit score sucks, what do you get? A higher interest rate. If your credit score is good, you can get a lower interest rate. So if you have to get a higher interest rate, what are you doing? Paying more. So what happens? Things cost more. Hyperinflation starts, right? We're already in the time of inflation, but wait till hyperinflation hits. When you can't afford shit, can't afford to live, right? The scriptures tell you they're going to eat their bread by measure. That's going into the famine, but there's also a time where you're going to sit here and spend an entire day's check, right? You go to the book of Revelation, the 6th chapter, and let me get it, man. Revelation 6. And Revelation 6, and I started, just go to the point, verse 6. It says, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, right? When you go into that word, penny, it goes into basically the normal day's wage in the Roman Empire, right? So a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. So you're going to basically spend an entire day's wage just for a little bit of food. That's called hyperinflation, right? That's what the Lord's getting prepared to bring to this earth. Hyperinflation. Your dollar ain't going to be worth shit. It's going to take you an entire day's check just to sit here and have enough to make a loaf of bread. That's what happens in hyperinflation. When in Venezuela, when they hit their hyperinflation, it cost them 5,000 Venezuelan dollars for a fucking chicken. For a rotisserie chicken. That's how much it costs, 5,000 Venezuelan dollars. All right, you had them in prison eating each other. Well, that shit's gonna happen in America soon, man. This place is going down. The fun time is over. It said, rejoice and be glad, O virgin daughter of Babylon. All right, that's what you Edomites should be doing. You should be living it up. Rejoice. This is your time. You only got a little more time to fucking enjoy the shit. Go ahead, keep getting credit cards, right? Spread your shit, then live the best life you can for now. Because this shit is almost through. Right? But all these things are happening. The value of the dollar, them saying that there's not enough U.S. dollar, there's not going to be enough paper to print U.S. dollars. This is all because a new system is getting ushered in, and it's going to be the digital system, where they're going to have complete control over money, over everybody's money. They're going to know how much you spent, where you spent it. They're going to give you a carbon footprint rating, right? It's called an ESG score, and a company is called ESG for a person. I forgot what the individual's ESG score is called, right? Everybody's going to have an ESG score, and they're going to sit here and allot you a certain amount of resources, and that's it. And it's going to be oppressive, because you're talking about a devil that's oppressive. That's what he was made for, right? So when you go to Revelation 13, we in the times now that this system is getting propped up. Revelation 13 and 15, it says, and you have power to give life unto the image of the beast, right? What is the beast? The beast is that NATO EU empire, man, that whole conglomerate, right? And then you have the whore that sits upon the beast, which is America. America is the one that rules everything in the world. They tell people what's cool and what's not cool, right? They could go over to Israel, and say, you had Trump sitting there begging. They sat there and said Trump was begging Israel not to bomb the Palestinians. What the fuck you mean begging? You're talking about a nation that's supposed to be stronger than them is begging another nation not to bomb them? What are you talking about? Right? It's showing you that they're the ones in charge. They're the ones in charge. They're the ones that got the juice on this side. Right? But Revelation 13 and 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Right? So the image, right, is going into the system. Right? There's going to be a system set up, and it's going to be a beast-like system that's going to encompass everything. This is that CBD system, that central bank digital currency system that's going to be propped up. Because cash money is about to be out the door, man. Right? And if you don't bow down to this system, that's why there's an article that brothers had up. I need to go back into it because I still got to make a lesson on it, where they were talking about how the EU's, the World Health Organization, is sitting there talking about how if people don't agree with the new system, they need to be locked up. Well, this is prophecy, man. It says, verse 16, it says, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So that's what's going to happen. They're going to cause everybody, they're going to put it on you, tell you, hey, if you don't take part of this system, right? Right? If you don't take part of this system, you ain't going to eat. You ain't going to have access to this and that. You're not going to have the liberty to be able to do this and that. Right? This is a system that's getting propped up. Right? Where they're going to just shut all this shit down, man. When you go into that word mark, it means what? Charagma. You go into the root word for charagma, it actually has 2 or 3 different root words. It goes charagma, which means an imprinted, etched on thing, an engraving. It goes to the word charax, right? Which means what? Something, palisade or a stake, something that is used to poke it into you, going into the syringe, right? The big ass gauge syringe that they're going to use to put that shit in your hand, right? You even have thousands of people lining up for Elon Musk's brain chip, but it says it in their right hand or in their forehead, right? That's the brain chips. It says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name So this is what the mark is. If you don't have this, you're not going to be able to buy and sell. This is why they're all talking about getting rid of this American dollar and coming up with a digital system, a digital currency, right? We're not going to sit here and allocate everybody. That's why for years they were talking about what? Universal basic income. That is the central bank digital currency, right? And you're not going to be able to buy and sell unless you bow down to that system. This is what's getting propped up. We're in a time where prophecies are moving forward, right? And if you take this shit, right? Get this is if you take this, Revelation 14:9, it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image, right? We went through what the beast is. They don't use that whole beast system, conglomerate system. The beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, right? You want to receive the charagma, you want to see that implantable microchip, right? The RFID microchip. You want to receive that shit? The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. That word indignation means righteous anger, right? The Lord said he was going to plead with all flesh by fire, right? It's Isaiah the 66th chapter, 16th verse. It says, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Right? You want to take part of that, you're going to be tormented. The Lord's going to destroy you. Right? You want to take part of that new system, and this is what they're going to present to everybody. No, they're not going to tell everybody, hey, this is the mark of the beast. They're not going to do that, man. But you've been told by the prophets, so you're going to be held liable. Brothers have done thousands of videos, bro. At this point, there's thousands of videos out there on this subject, man. And they've gone into the algorithm. And even though Esau fucks with the numbers and makes it seem like brothers ain't getting no hits on their videos and people ain't watching, people are watching. Esau's just conflating the numbers, dulling them down, not allowing it to get above a certain mark. Hey, this week I made a video on brothers that had 153 views with 4,000 likes. That don't make sense. The math ain't math. right? So nobody's gonna have an excuse in that day, because the prophets have been set up in these last days to preach these things, right? And it said, hey, the gospel shall be preached in all the world, and then the end will come. Everybody's gonna be able to hear this at this point, right? But this is where we at in prophecy, man. Shit is popping. Shit is popping. The dollar's about to be washed out, right? They're about to come into the new system. There's very little prophecies left, right? And Ezra, he said, what? Tell me if there's more things past than to come, or more things to come than are past. And he said, what? Like, as the smoke is greater than the fire, but the smoke remains still, as the rain is more than the drops, but the drops remain still, even so is the quantity past than is to come. Right? Meaning there's way less prophecies. Now we're 2,000 years past that time. Right? A little more than 2,000 years past the time of Ezra. And now all we gotta wait is what? The Mark of the Beast to come out, World War III, time of Jacob's trouble. Right? This shit is almost done, bro. There's very few prophecies left, very few. And these things are gonna happen in our lifetime, man. But Lord willing, this has been edifying, man. I'm gonna say call Allah, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakadash, Shalom.